to all the dispossessed youth of Africa, for perpetuation of communion with ancestral spirits through the fight for African freedom, and in the firm faith that the dead, the living, and the unborn will unite to build the destroyed shrines. Selah.
Did you pass the test? Hey, I even shot passed. Did you pass the test, beloveds? How connected are you to the Patrix or the Matrix system, this false artificial world that has been systematically created since the 90s to help the Agenda 21, which is literally like the global domination of the world through some technocrats, through a basically global surveillance police state. Like, it sounded so crazy when you were saying this even 2 years ago, but right now it's not sounding as crazy. And the important thing is not even to fill up your mind with too many narratives of what's going on. It's extremely important to know what's happening, but it's more important to be moving into creating your own story, creating your own world, and being more self-sufficient and self-reliant, because we are moving in, the powers that be, or the powers that are ending, however you want to look at it, they are moving literally at breakneck speed to implement this New World Order agenda. Some say because the Kali Yuga, which is like, the age of destruction, etc., ends in 2025. So they have until then to kind of, implement their New World Order system so that we can move into that. But there is a lot happening spiritually. But how you gauge, did you pass the test? The test was the social media shutdown that happened yesterday. I don't know when you'll be watching this, where Facebook, Instagram, and which other one? And WhatsApp was down. WhatsApp is the one that affects most people here in Africa, and Facebook as well. But they were down for hours on end, beloveds. And many people, because they're so addicted, found themselves quite lost. Many panicked because all of a sudden they couldn't WhatsApp their moms or their daddy, from the diaspora here in Africa. A lot of people have gotten used to those free calls, so they couldn't access them. Many who are used to being on Instagram 24/7, especially the youth, they felt it. They felt it. They felt the panic. They were constantly trying to check back to see, what was happening. When is it back on, etc., etc. People were on Twitter trying to find out if it was back on. And this really was a great test to see how connected you are and how addicted you are, how addicted they've made you to the social media system, beloveds. Many of us had no clue what was going on until we happened to be doing some work online, and then, we got the buzz. But no panic there, no panic on Facebook. And the scary thing is, because of this fear, there was also a very strong campaign, especially here on the Twitter streets here in Africa, where people were really talking about, what could potentially have been happening with like a data hacking, data harvesting, data selling, and how and now people became a bit more aware of what dangers there are in having so much of their information online. But how addicted are you, beloveds, to the Babylon system? Because the Babylon system is in all these gadgets and means. Did you feel lost? Did you feel anxious? Did you lose a little bit of energy? And for me, beloveds, I am so disconnected. I'm rarely on Instagram, and I only post like memes that I find interesting or thought-provoking. Facebook is just like a window shopping where I post the videos, so I don't have any personal things going on there. And WhatsApp, I've really dialed down my communications, beloveds, which is what I'm hoping many of you should be doing. There should be no cords of attachment, where even with WhatsApp, where it goes down and you start panicking, because you can't get a hold of this person or that relative or this friend, or you're out of touch of this, group, whatever. All of the, when it went down, the test was how attached were you? Where did you feel some type of way? Because it shouldn't affect you in any way. Some of us were on our farm. We came back. We found out, oh, while others were actually sitting, like trying to log in. That's an addiction, beloveds. And many people say, what do you think the Instagram is? It's like a hit. I mean, they say it to you right in your face. Who invented Facebook? Please look at it. What was its purpose? With the facial recognition and all this stuff. And so you really need to look at, if you want to know if you passed the test, you basically were unfazed by the shutdown of Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp for hours. It didn't make a difference in your life. It didn't influence. It didn't do nothing for you. It was neither here nor there. And for some of us, maybe we're more on YouTube. So what would happen if YouTube went down for a day or two? And maybe it was also a frequency thing, beloveds, because the frequency is rising so much across the planet. And to be very honest, these platforms are very low vibe. They were created on a low vibe. Of course, now they've been infiltrated by high vibe beings who are trying to educate, who are using them to kind of educate the masses, inform people of what's going on, give the necessary news and information in this great age of censorship. And maybe that's what crashed the system. But but at this point, beloveds, you should be at the point where it doesn't matter that it was down. And in fact, you were unfazed. And if you felt some type of way, then you need to start changing and reorienting your life for your own safety and peace of mind, because it shows you've given way too much to the system. I mean, it just shows collectively how reliant so many of our people are for communication on these systems, and how we really have to develop our own. I mean, there are alternatives like Telegram, etc., etc. But we need our own on our. Do we even have like an African server? Seriously, I'd love to hear from our IT people. But beloveds, be moving more into nature, because a collapse is coming. And what you're seeing now is going to be happening, because now it's like the cyber warfare is a major dimension of warfare right now. Data, as I mentioned in the previous video, is the new oil. And so this is going to be happening more systematically. Protect your information. Don't put your personal information on there. Read those, don't just sign those privacy. When you enter a website and they ask you for all these privacy laws, protect yourself, beloveds. Protect what you share on WhatsApp. It is just pretend like any message that you're sending across is going to be seen by the whole world. If there's anything private you need to say, then you should say it in person with that person, with your phones, either in another room or totally outside, because those are major surveillance tools that you carry all around. Many say that was the mark, because it's monitoring your conversations. The camera can be put on to monitor where you are. The location services can be put on to know exactly where you are. I mean, there's so much that's being done that we are unaware of. And now the new mobile phones, you can't even turn off. So I think that the real test was to see, where are you with social media? For me, I just realized YouTube, I need to also, pull back from watching so much, and maybe watch the stars instead in the evening or something. Anyway, did you pass the test? I'd love to hear in the comments below. Tuko pamoja.